There's a book out. I don't know if you've read it. You may have seen it, John, called Ecumenical Jihad. Write it down. You need to read it. It's a short little book. I'm always giving him assignments, you know. Ecumenical Jihad. Just want to tell you what the book's about. Just very brief, and just to illustrate the issue here. Ecumenical Jihad is a book written by Peter Kreeft. Yes, some of you will recognize the name. He's a Catholic apologist, teaches at Boston College. It's a Catholic bastion up there in Boston. Peter is a very articulate writer and a very bright guy. Ecumenical Jihad, interesting name, is a jihad is a holy war in Islam. Ecumenical is what you think it is. Everybody get together. So everybody has to get together to fight the holy war. Now, the thesis of the book is that there's a holy war going on in our society, in our culture. Our culture is going down the proverbial drain, and we need to get a cultural morality. We've got to stop America from sliding. We've got to stop Western civilization from sliding down into a moral morass. And so what we need to do is, there are not enough evangelical Christians to fight this battle alone. There are not enough Catholics to fight it alone, so we all need to throw our arms around each other. Let's all get together, embrace each other, and let's go fight the holy war ecumenically. And maybe we can reclaim the culture and create a cultural morality which will create a better environment for belief in the gospel. That's the idea. Now, he says, the thesis of the book is that basically we should accept the fact that all monotheists are on their way to heaven anyway. Because there's only one God and they all just view him differently. So he casts this, and it's a brief little paperback, but it's quite interesting. It was advertised in Christianity Today, promoted by them. He casts it. He was surfing one day, he says, and he hit the bottom and had a out-of-body experience. And in his out-of-body experience, he was taken to heaven, so Kreeft writes. And the first person he met there shocked him, because the first person he met there was Confucius. And, his response is, "What are you doing here?" Confucius says, "Well, what I didn't understand about Jesus down there, I understood once I got here. It was all clarified for me." And then he met Buddha, same scenario. And then he met Muhammad. And then he met a bunch of Orthodox Jews who worship the true God. They just didn't quite get the Jesus side of the deal. And then he met a bunch of atheists who were seeking truth, and since truth all resides in God, they were really seeking God, so they were true God seekers, so they were also there. And the thesis of the book is, look, we're all going to arrive at the same place. Why are we fighting each other? Then he said, now, if we're going to win the holy war, we've got to get our arms around everybody. And we've got to have a general. There's only one general in the world who's up to this task, and that's the Pope, who's the great winner of unwinnable wars, he calls him. So we all subscribe to the Pope. That's the general who commands the troops. And then he said we have to have an inner power. And the final section of the book is a call for all of us to reaffirm our devotion to Mary, bow, as it were, to the power of Mary in us. You say, well, that's a pretty weird book. Well, on the back cover, there's a paragraph endorsing the book in which it says, Peter Kreeft is one of our finest contemporary apologists. We need to listen to his message. Signed, Charles Colson. The next paragraph says, what if he is right? Signed, J.I. Packer. What if he's right? Are we asking if he's right? I don't think so. He's not right, is he? He's wrong. Are they still asking that question? Do they not understand what the gospel is? Do they not understand how a person gets to heaven? I'm not commenting on what they said. I only quoted what they said. You can buy the book and see it. It's on the back. It's an endorsement of the book on the back cover. There is such confusion at the level of the gospel, more than I've ever known in my lifetime, and that's why I'm embarking upon this. Now, if we are ambassadors for Christ, and as he says in verse 20, if we have been given, verse 18, the ministry of reconciliation, and if we have been given the word or the message of reconciliation, and that's what we do and who we are, then certainly we better be clear on the issue, right? And it's up for grabs right now. There's a strong movement going on now for a pre-Reformational Christianity. A pre-Reformational Christianity, where we wipe out the Reformation. In fact, one great leader said he believes that maybe God has called him to reverse what Martin Luther did. Undo it. Now, this is serious stuff. We need to understand the gospel. In fact, when I was in the Ligonier Conference down in Florida, we were trying to find a new word. We used to call ourselves fundamentalists, but we don't really want to do that anymore because it sort of becomes, no fun, too much damn, and not enough mental. And, it's just... we can't use that word. It's been sort of cast in a certain way. And then we had the word evangelical, but that doesn't mean anything today. You got more stuff in this town called evangelical than you'd like to ever be associated with. Is that not true? So what's the word? So Sproul says, well, I know the word I'm using. I'm calling myself an imputationalist. And I said, well, you could probably get some money from the government for the Americans for Disabilities Act, you know. I can't go around saying I'm a Bible-believing imputationalist, you know. People will run for cover. But I mean, we're trying to find a term that we can actually use in the middle of all this. I'll get back to that in a minute.